Hi, my name's Audrey, and this is my meeting Taylor video. I've been a fan for a super long time. My sister introduced me to Taylor, so I was like 5 years old. But I made like a stan account for her on Tumblr and Twitter, probably around the very beginning of when Rep was announced, so like 2017. So I've had it for a few years. I had just gotten a few notices here and there. It wasn't anything crazy. And then on the 18th of August, I got a DM from Taylor Nation saying that I was invited to a secret event to meet Taylor.
Oh my god, okay. It's August 18th. And I was just in my dorm, literally like on my phone, watching a TV show, and I didn't even get a notification. It was a DM from Taylor Nation. I just got a DM from Taylor Nation, and I literally, like, I haven't told a single person. I haven't called my mom or my sister. I just literally, like, threw on some shoes and ran out of my dorm because I couldn't tell my roommate. She was literally sitting right next to me, and I was like, I couldn't, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. Oh my god, I haven't responded. I haven't done anything. Oh my god, I need to call my mom.
And then this is me getting the call.
I just got off the phone with Taylor Nation. They called me, and they talked to me, and I got my information. It's official. I was like, oh my god, they're not gonna call me, like, because you hear those horror stories of them, like, not contacting people, and I was like, it might not happen, and then it happened.
I was actually on the phone with someone else, with my sister, and I was talking, that I saw a call pop up from New York, and I was like, I need to take this, so I hung up on her, and I answered the phone, and it was a man, and we talked a little bit about, like, what the event would be. I had no idea that it was going to be the YouTube live stream. I had no clue what was happening, when it would be. I thought maybe it would be in a couple weeks. I don't know. Sometimes they give more advanced notice. And he told me that it was going to be an event on the 22nd, and it was going to be in New York. He told me all about, like, meeting locations, like what you have to do. He was like, do you have a pen to write this down? And I was like, no, I'm standing outside my dorm in this like walkway space, like I have nothing on me, so I had to like switch between like listening to him and typing it on my notes on my phone. And he said we're never gonna contact you again. He was like, this is the last contact you'll have with us, which is gonna be important later on. But that was it. And then he hung up, and so I was like calling everyone else, like trying to get my parents to help me book flights and everything. And I actually thought I wouldn't be able to go. There was like a time period where I was like, I can't go. I can't skip my first week of college. Flying to New York is super expensive. But I ended up hearing back from my dad super late that day, and he was like, we got plane tickets, so I'm gonna fly up and meet you in New York, and then we'll get a hotel room and everything. So the lead up was probably one of the most fun parts of the whole thing. It's just like the excitement building and like going to the mall and shopping for the outfits. This was some of the options that I had. So I had heard from other people that had met her, that she likes to lurk people before she meets them. In the like few days before she meets them, she'll like stalk your account and everything. So I was like super conscious of everything that I was tweeting, because I was like, what if I make a dumb joke? Like, I don't want, you know? And so what she had done at Secret Sessions was she baked little heart-shaped Rice Krispies for people. And I knew a lot of like people that I'm friends with, and a lot of mutuals and everything were upset that they couldn't go to Secret Sessions and stuff. So I baked these little heart Rice Krispies, and I posted them, and I made sure to like tag each one for like different people and explain like who they were and like why I think they should meet Taylor, so that hopefully if she lurked my account leading up to it, she would find new people and I could like kind of help them. When I was like getting ready to go to New York, I had to turn off Find My Friends and Snap Maps and everything, because I couldn't tell anyone I was going to New York. And my roommate was so confused as to why I was flying to New York in the middle of the first week of school, and I was like, oh, it's for a concert. My mom got me surprise concert tickets. She did not believe me. So I also ended up making like this poll on Twitter. I was like, I'm gonna be in class during the live stream. should I like skip class to watch it or something, just so people would not suspect me because they thought I was in class, so I was just trying to be sneaky and stuff. So I flew to New York and I arrived at like 11 p.m. And so I ended up just going straight to a hotel room. My dad was at the airport. His flight had landed earlier, so he just waited for me. So we got in the car, we drove from the airport to the hotel, and then I kind of just passed out. I was just so tired. I just couldn't do anything else, and I was so excited and nervous. And so then on the day of, it was Thursday the 22nd, so I woke up and I watched some of the GMA concert, because Taylor had done like a GMA concert, so I was watching that. I also had to do philosophy homework, so that's me doing philosophy homework. So I was literally doing homework on the day that I was supposed to meet her. And then I also had gotten the book. I had had this idea in my mind that I wanted to give her a book. So I took a paper making class junior year of high school, so like 3 years ago. And so we like pulled paper from pulp and like sewed it together into this book. And I had always thought like, if I ever met Taylor, I'd want to give one to her. My dad had brought it up, so I hadn't written anything, I hadn't done anything because I didn't know I was going to meet her. So I was like hurriedly writing all my letters and writing the acts of everyone I wanted to give their usernames and everything. And we ended up, we like were exploring New York very like quickly. Like we didn't go any tourist places, but we just walked Times Square a little, me and my dad. And I went to like a CVS place because I printed out some photos. I gave her some different photos of just like me at Rep Tour, in Rep Tour Netflix, my dog, and just cute little photos to have like a personal touch to them. And then we went back to the hotel room and I started getting ready. We got Subway, but like I couldn't eat anything. I was so nervous and anxious and excited and just like a whole mix of emotions. So this is me getting ready before and after. I think they told us to meet up at the location at like 3. So we were like walking out, we were about to leave the hotel room and I was like, wait, I have to go back. And I got out this like blue eyeliner pencil and I wrote a 13 on my hand because like, I don't know, it just felt fitting. This is me in the lobby on my way with my little like book that I was gonna give her. You can see that in the picture. And also the Welcome to New York was on my phone. It was definitely a stressful Uber ride. I was so worried we were gonna be late. They had said on the phone that you can't bring anyone and you can't go into the like a meeting area with anyone or they won't let either of you come. So my dad had to stay in the Uber and we pulled up to this like super cute little restaurant and I go in and I'm like looking around like because I don't want to say like, hi, I'm here for the event because it's secret. So I was just kind of like awkwardly standing there. And then one of the waiters comes up and he was like, oh, are you here for the thing? And I was like, yes. So then he brought me to this back room. It was like walking into like a cafeteria lunchroom for the first time. I was like, where do I sit? Like, what do I do? So I just like awkwardly stood there, like not moving. And then out of the corner of my eye, I saw Noah, who is one of my really good friends on Twitter. And it was just crazy. We like screamed, there was a lot of screaming, we hugged. I also saw one of my other really close friends and we had both not known that the other was gonna be there. So that was super cool. So we like hugged, we took some pictures, and then we went to our table. We all like introduced ourselves, we like talked. People were walking around with like their social media profiles out to like show people that we were all like exchanging numbers. And there was no Taylor Nation at this point. And then I was sitting at the table again and that friend that I talked about earlier, she like was like, oh, do you have your contract with you? And I was like, my what? It was like that feeling, you know, when you're like in class and the teacher asks you to like pull out your homework or like get out your pen for a quiz that you didn't know existed. I was like, I literally had no idea there was a contract. And because the guy on the phone had told me that he wasn't gonna contact me ever again, I didn't look for it. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't know it existed. So I was like freaking out and she was like, no, it's fine. They said that they would bring extra. And I was like, thank God. But also in the little like letter they sent was the dress code and they said, don't wear merch and you can't wear white. And so of course, what was I wearing but a solid white skirt And so I was just freaking out. I was like, I'm not gonna get to meet Taylor. This is my one chance, so I'm not gonna get to meet her because I broke dress code. And so I like called my dad and I was like freaking out. And so he ended up like walking down the like streets and he found like this like little like vendors. And so he ended up buying me a scarf, like this like all black, solid black scarf, so that I could wrap it around my skirt so that I wouldn't get kicked out of the event. And so he ended up bringing that back and I like sneakily went to go grab it because he wasn't allowed to come in and stuff. So that was a little traumatic, dramatic incident. And then it was like right around that time, 2 Taylor Nation employees walked in. I'm not gonna say their names or anything for privacy reasons because I don't know if they want people stalking them. But they come in and they're like, they introduce themselves and they say they have contracts, and then I go and grab the contract and I sign it and it's all good. And I asked her, I was like, I'm so sorry, but I did wear white. Is this okay? Like, can I still go? And she was super nice and she said the skirt was fine and I didn't need to use the scarf or anything, so that was nice. And then they went to go sit in this little table off to the side and they said, okay, everyone can start like checking in. You can bring your stuff and your IDs and everything. So we got in line. This is a photo of me in line. If you can see, it's super blurry. So then we got in line, and when it was my turn to check in, I was like, hi, I'm Audrey, here's my ID, my phone, everything. I was like, hey, could you like give this to Taylor because you're not allowed to bring anything in? And she was like, sure, of course. So I gave her all my stuff. And then I went to the other lady, the other Taylor Nation lady, and she gave us a wristband. And I remember she pulled out these like super cute yellow wristbands, and I was like, oh, those are so cute. Yellow is my favorite color. And then she goes, I know, that's why we chose them. So like, it was so cute. And so we got our wristbands and then we went back to our tables. So then we come out and we line up to go on the bus. They bused us to the event because there was like a second meeting location. So we're lining up outside the restaurant and there's some miscommunication problem between Taylor Nation and the buses because they didn't show up. So they were super late. And at one point, this guy across the street from us came out and he was like wheeling this huge suitcase. And I don't know what popped into my brain, but I was just like, oh my God, that's Taylor, because there was this theory that she was hiding in a suitcase. And I don't know why I said that, but everyone like turned to look and like the Taylor Nation lady gave me the most like disappointed, confused look, and I was just so embarrassed. Part 500 of Audrey embarrassing herself. So we got on the bus. It was like I think it was like 2 rows of 3, so it wasn't that like huge buses. It was individual ones, and I was on the second bus. So then we get to the location, and it's like a big event center. All the windows were like blacked out because obviously for security reasons they didn't want anyone to see. So all the windows were blacked out, and we couldn't see in, and so we stood outside in a line for like 10 more minutes, just chatting with each other, chatting with Taylor Nation, just like waiting out. And then they finally let us in, but there was like these really big security guards, very intimidating, and they like did a full like metal detector scan, and they actually cut off the wristbands, I guess because they didn't want them to show up on the YouTube live. But they cut them off, which was sad because I wanted to take pictures of them after, but we move on. And then we lead one by one into this really big room, and I walked in and it was just like so pretty. I can show pictures. It was just like everything was pink. There were so many pillows. It was just decorated like lover, everything. It's a lot more light in the pictures because the windows of the pop-up shop are open. But when we went, it was super dark because everything was blacked out. The people that I had sat with at the table, we went and we got our little seats at the beanbags. I don't have a photo because we couldn't take our phones, so I don't have a photo of me there, but you can see me in the like videos from Lover's Lounge. And so before it started, it was kind of just, everyone was just sitting around, it filled up, just kind of waiting. I don't know, maybe it was like 10-15 minutes of us just waiting. Taylor's dad, Scott, came out. He was so nice. He passed out guitar picks, and so I got a ton. He was giving out so many. And so then it was time, and she did that classic like little wave that she does when she comes out. She sat down on the couch, and I was a little off to the side, but I was so close that there wasn't anyone in front of me. And so she did introductions, she did a little Q&A, she did an interview with Stella McCartney, and so then she was getting, the cameras cut off, and she got up to leave to go with Stella McCartney, and I just yelled out, like, "You're so gorgeous," or something. And she like whipped her head around and like smiled at me. So that was our first little like interaction. And so she went to the pop-up shop, and then we were all like screaming, like excited, because we had just seen Taylor Swift, and we were singing the words to all of her songs and stuff, because they put the songs back on repeat while she was in the pop-up shop. And at one point in the pop-up shop, in the video on Lower Sound, you can hear us scream, "Hey kids, spelling is fun," in the background. So then more camera crews came in, and they like lectured us, and they were like, "You guys know, like, you can't sing, you can't make any noise, you can't talk, you can't like go along with the words when she performs the song, because that'll mess up with audio." So while Taylor was performing the Archer, we were all just like mouthing the words silently. She sounded amazing. Like, she sounds as good live as she does normally. Like, it's crazy. And so then the song was over. She only performed one song, but the song cut off. She like leaned over to us because we were sitting a little bit lower, and she was like, "How did I sound? Was that okay?" And she's like, so cute. Like, the fact that she still gets, like, she still questions herself. I mean, it's sad, but also it's like, you can see how humble she is. Like, that she still is like wanting our opinion and wants to make us happy. And she was like, "Was it good?" Like, it was just the cutest thing. She was amazing. And then she was like, "Okay guys, it's time for like me to meet you." She was like, and she gave us this whole talk about how like she was so sorry, but we were gonna have a silent meet and greet because she was on vocal rest. And so she was like, "I'm so sorry, but like my lower register like gets really messed up when I talk too much, and I have a lot of interviews and performances coming up because it's release week." And so she was saying that we wouldn't be able to like talk to each other when we met her. And the energy in the room, like, you could just like hear a pin drop. Everyone was just like, "What?" No one said anything, but everyone's just like a little in shock. And so then she left, and she went to go get ready or something. But it was funny because she left for a while. There was like a gap in between, and I found out later that she was on Tumblr liking people's posts during the event, which is just so Taylor. And so then the main TN lady, we hadn't met her up until this point, the main like Taylor Nation and like coordinator, the one who works directly with Taylor, came out, and she gave us this really stern talk. She's very serious. We were all a little scared of her. And she was like, "You can't ask Taylor any questions. You can't expect her to answer. You can't try and get her to answer. She's not going to be able to talk. It's going to be completely silent." So we get in line. It was really slow. The line didn't move for a while, so we were all just kind of standing there. And we finally made it far enough in line that we were waiting in the pop-up shop. So we walked into the pop-up shop for the first time. It was so pretty. There was costumes and like all of this stuff from previous music videos. There were these murals on the wall, decorations. Everything was so gorgeous. I remember Andrea, Taylor's mom, walked by, and so we got to say hi. And someone followed her, like this like security guard who was like carrying like this bag of Taylor's stuff. And I don't know what came over me. I was like, "Oh, do you need help carrying that?" Because he was kind of struggling, like thinking like, I don't know how I thought that like I was gonna be able to do a better job carrying it than he did. But I offered to help, and he obviously turned me down. But I remember I was trying to see what highlighter she used. I don't know why, but I really wanted to know like what highlighter she used. And I remember looking, but all I saw was the blue Neutrogena makeup wipes. So in case you were curious, Taylor uses those makeup wipes. So then we were just waiting in line more. Tree, Taylor's publicist, came out. She was just walking around the shop. She walked by us, and literally stunning human being. She's so tall and pretty, and I was like, "You're so pretty, like you're so beautiful." And she was so sweet. She's like, "Oh, y'all are so pretty too. Y'all look so cute today." Everyone was just super nice. Some of Taylor's friends, like Ashley, were also walking around just taking photos. It was pretty relaxed, like chill environment. At this point in the era and in the time, we didn't know any of the prices for the pop-up shop merch, and I really wanted some. I remember at one point I got out of line to go check and look for a price tag because I wanted to know how much it cost, and there were no price tags, but I was just being a snoop, and so I like quick got back in line. I remember it was so cool because there was no like walls or separate room or anything. You could just see the mural where Taylor was meeting people, so you could just like watch everyone meet Taylor. And so it was just insane to like not only be in the same room as her, but like watch these people that you're friends with online, and like watching people like Noah and just like people that I talk to all the time, watching them have like the best moment of their life was so insane and surreal to just watch that and see like how happy everyone was, and to just see Taylor. She talked to every single person. She did not stand by her silence thing at all. She was laughing, talking, like dancing, like just being her usual self. So then I got up into the line and it was like my turn. And I was just staring at her like, oh my God, I can't believe like this is happening. Like this is it. And the girl that was meeting Taylor in front of me was, I don't know, she was a little slow, well, because everyone was super emotional. And so the main Taylor Nation lady that I talked about earlier was waiting there to like tell people when to go and stuff. And she was like making sure no one went over or was there for too long or anything. And so she told me it was my time to go, and she's like, go. But the girl was still talking to Taylor. Like she was still standing there, so I wasn't about to like interrupt. So I just kind of like stood there and waited for her to go. And so then she left. And then like Taylor looked at me and I was just gone. I was just like, all bets were off. I did not move. The lady was like, go, and I just like was frozen. And I remember thinking like, it was just this moment of like, I don't deserve to be here, because like, so many people have waited for this moment, and so many people have like wanted and dreamed of this. And so I was just like, I shouldn't be here. Like this shouldn't be me. And she kind of just like stared at me a little bit. She did her little head tilt, and then she like threw her arms out and she like danced and like shimmied her way over to me, and she like grabbed my hands and she like brought me, she's like, this bitch needs to go. Can you please? But she didn't obviously say that because she was so nice, and it was just like in that moment I was just like relief. Like all of that like anxiety and like worrying about not saying anything or like all this overthinking just like completely gone. I just felt so comfortable. She like wrapped me in the biggest hug, and I was like, hi, my name's Audrey, like, and I was like, I don't know how you found me. And she was like, oh, I'm so sneaky like that. She really called herself sneaky, and she looked so proud of herself when she said it too. And I was like I don't have a lot of notices. And she was like, oh, I'll see your posts and I'll screenshot them instead of liking them. And I was just like, ma'am, this is too much. I remember she like looked at, she's like, oh, your glitter eyeshadow is so pretty. And I was just like, ma'am, you are so pretty. Like her eyes are so pretty, and she is just like all around, like I keep saying it, but it's so true. She's just such a gorgeous human being. And so then I like really quick blurted out, I just need to talk to you about I Almost Do, because that was like, that's my stand song. So that's the song that I is just my favorite, and it's so important to me. And I just that was the main thing that I cannot leave unless I talk to her about it. So we started talking about the song, and when I brought it up, she was so shocked. She was like, that song? And I was like, yes. And she was like, oh, people don't ever talk to me about that one. And I was like, it's so good. And I was telling her about how much it helped me with my anxiety, and how I apply it to my own life. And we got personal, so I'm not gonna get really in depth into what she said and what I said, but we just talked about that for a while. And I remember she was like, thank you so much, I am so proud of that song. And I was just like, Taylor Swift just thanked me and said she was proud of that song, and she said she was proud of me, and it was just insane to hear that coming from her. And I was like, I told her, I was like, I wrote more about the song and what it means to me in the book that I made for you. And she was like, you made me a book? And I was like, yeah, I made you this book. And she's like, can I have it? I was like, I'm sorry, I don't have it with me. I had to give it to your team. And she's like, okay, I'll look out for it. So cute. She literally asked me like if she could have it. Like I was gonna say no. Like she's just so genuine. She always asks you. She always says, can I have a hug? She's like, can I take a picture with you? She's never like, do you want to take a picture with me? You know? So she's so genuine. So then she was like, oh, do you want to take a picture? And I was like, I have 2 pictures in mind. Like I want to do like a silly one, and I also want to do a hug from behind, and I can't pick which one. So I was like, can you pick for me? She was like, of course. And she was like, let's do the peace signs, because no one else had done them yet that night. And so I was like, of course. And so we did our little peace signs. I did mine the wrong way. Of course I messed up. We don't talk about it. Taylor looks super cute in the photo, and that's what matters. And one of the things I had really wanted to talk to her about also was fruit. Super random, but I had been in this group chat, and we had always had these big debates about what Taylor's favorite fruit would be and what the best fruit is. And so I was like, I told her about the group chat and everyone in it. And I was like, so we have to know, like, what is your favorite fruit? She was like deep in thought. She was like looking up, like she really took it seriously. And she's like, you know what? It's weird. Don't judge me, but it's pineapple with salt on it. And then I was like, that is weird. I'm dumb, and I was like, I don't know why I would say that to her, but I was like, that's weird. I had never tried it yet, but I tried it afterwards, and it's pretty good. So we talked about pineapple, as you do when you're talking to Taylor Swift, and yellow, because pineapple is yellow, and I started talking about how yellow is such a great color. She was like, yes, I love yellow. And I just remembered one thing I forgot to say was that in the middle of talking to her about like I almost do and stuff, I just got really emotional, and I like started crying a little bit, and I like turned my head and I like yelled at myself. I was like, you promised you wouldn't cry, and she like laughed it off. Like, and it was just a dumb moment where I got in my head and stuff, and she was so kind and like made everything so comfortable. It wasn't awkward at all. So that was really nice. She just was so nice about everything. And so then it was time to go, and I remember like turning to leave, and then I was like, I turned back around and I was like, I love you. And she was like, and I had like said it quietly because like my time was up, and so I didn't want to like make a scene or anything, and she like said it so loudly. She's like, I love you too. And she was just, oh, it was so cute. And so then I got the bag. This is the bag they gave, this Spirit Sessions bag. So they gave the bag, and it had a bunch of merch in it. It had different sizes and everything. And so then I waited in the like line while a few more people met her, and then we got on the bus, and we went back to the meeting location. We were all like in shock, and just like it was part silence, and then it was part like everyone was talking, like freaking out. I did my tweet, the official I've met Taylor tweet, just met Taylor Swift, but spelled wrong because that's how you do it. It's tradition. So we were back to our hotel room. He ended up going to sleep. So I remember everyone was like asking me about like what was going on and everything and what had happened. So I FaceTimed my really close group chat, and I had like sit in the bathroom floor with the door closed because he was like sleeping. And so I was like sitting on the bathroom floor like telling my story and everything. And then I got the photo. They emailed it. I was worried it would look worse than it did. I was worried that this situation would not be as good. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. So small victories. So then I posted my photo. I hung out on Twitter a little bit, saying like a little bit about the event. I didn't end up listening to the album. It was way too late in the night, and Lover came out at midnight, but I just was so tired because I had to get up, I think at 3 a.m. for my flight back to college. So I went to bed, woke up at like 3. I immediately flew back. I think I listened to the album for the first time on the plane ride back. And then I went back to college, and I literally went to class that next day. So yeah, that's the story. It was insane, amazing, perfect. Literally like, she was more than I ever could have imagined. She was just like the nicest person ever. So I got some questions from Twitter and Instagram that y'all wanted to ask me, so I wrote them down. Okay, so the first question was, why did you decide to talk to about your friends with her? And I think throughout the whole process and when I was with her, it was really important for me to help other people. I mean, and not to play the like, I'm amazing, I help everyone card, but just like I wanted to do the best that I could so that other people could get the same experience I got, by like making the Rice Krispie thread, and also talking about my friends when I was with Taylor, and then writing people's ats in a book that I gave to Taylor, because I think it's just like, you know that no one, not a single person, would meet Taylor if they weren't helped by someone else. And so many people have helped me in my account. It started out really small and I got help from so many people. There's no way I would have met her without help. So why would I then in turn not help other people? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. How did you talk to Taylor about private things with other people around? I thought this would be a much bigger issue than it was, because I am always very like hyper conscious about my surroundings, and like, I don't know, I'm a very awkward person, so I don't like to like open up to people, especially when other people can hear you, you know, but I just honestly forgot that there were other people that could hear the conversation, or that the TM lady was there. I just forgot, and I just felt so comfortable with Taylor. I like literally forgot everything. I honestly like shut down a little, like my sensory information was not working, because I remember everyone talks about like stuff like how she smelled and like stuff like that, and I just completely did not process any of that at all. But I remember when I first hugged her for the first time, the like only thing I remember about that hug is that her jacket felt so expensive. I don't know why, I can still like feel it, like I can still like remember what it felt like, and it just felt so nice. So apparently that was the most important thing for my brain to remember. But the other hugs, I just remember like her being so warm and like welcoming and stuff. But I don't know, other sights, sounds, other sensory information just completely blocked out. I was not focused on anything else. Okay, so there were a lot of questions about, what did you post in order to get noticed? What did you post to get invited? How do you get noticed? How did you get followed? I think it's important to note, Taylor does not follow me. Taylor has never followed me. She noticed me 3 times prior to the event, and it was all in the span of like 2 months. I had been on Tumblr and Twitter for years, like 3+ years, never gotten a notice, and then all of a sudden I got 3 in the span of 2 months, obviously because she was lurking me, as she told me later. But it's a whole long story, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that like it wasn't like I was like getting noticed all the time. But Taylor Nation followed me, and I think they'd noticed like 70 or so of my posts before I ended up meeting her, so I was pretty active on Twitter. But y'all had a lot of questions about like how you get noticed, how you get followed, stuff like that, so that's like a whole other video. That's a whole long story. Last thing before I go, I actually never used to watch these videos on YouTube. I would never watch people's meeting Taylor videos because it kind of made me feel sad. I was just like, it's never gonna happen to me. I can't even watch these videos. Like, I'll be happy for people and I like get really excited, but these videos were just like a no. Like, I just couldn't do it. So the fact that I'm making one right now, number one, insane to me, even a year later. Number two, if you're watching this and you're like, it's never gonna happen to me, like, either you don't have a Stan account, or you don't want one, or you feel like you're too small, or she'll never see you, like, just don't give up. If you wanna make it work, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, because obviously she can't meet everyone, but like, I mean, it's fun to try, and it's honestly the most fun when you stop trying to meet her the most, like when you just like post what you want to post and you meet so many friends. But like, it still is like a big deal to meet her, and it's one of the most amazing experiences, and I want everyone to get to experience that. So if I can help you in any way, reach out. My stuff is in the description. DM me if you need anything. Yeah, that's it.